This is Gerald Avavas. In this video I will explain for people that might think about the letter positions from my scheme twice and maybe try to imagine also like how can we, for instance, imagine that certain words should indeed present itself into a form, a bodily form. That should be uh, quite easy to do, but it takes a little bit more than the obvious associations. Mainly, if you would, for instance, think about a hand and then you try to figure out, okay, this is the form of the H and then the A and the N. You can't figure it out like that. So you have to really deal with the principles from the orientation, from the sounds themselves, not from the objects themselves, and then try to imagine something like a puzzle. It doesn't work like that. But I will give you some advice for people who try to do that. For instance, when they try to imagine, okay, why have certain body parts certain letters, and why do they not fit to my scheme here? My scheme says here that there are a couple of letters that are related with physical space and with relationships in physical space, while the others are about timing, and a few others are about really a wider context. The body parts, should they be there in that physical space? I will tell you how that works, how we can associate letters correctly in that way. And it's not even very difficult to do so, but you have to have the correct mindset. And I will give you this mindset with which letters fit with body parts. So this is an example that I will show you in this video, and it will not be difficult. Because when you really take out the positions of this physical space, actually it's not just physical space, it's also the physical space of objects that don't move, that are really steady. So that's why they have the letter T at a certain point, the letter A at a certain point, the L, the B at the borders, the M at the maximum of the body parts. That's what you have, and that's where these letters are. But these are for the steady points. The body parts that you might try to define with letters, do they fit with this foundation? Probably not. Beyond that are the other letters, the letters which are not just related with timing, they are related with movements, with changes. So that means if it's about body, these are the parts that move, that are changing, and so on. So you have there the other letters, the D, the W, the N, the F. You can have them placed somewhat already there, further away, with some movement, and so on. And then other letters as well beyond that are actually already moving or associating itself more independently. Like you have there the H, where there's a feedback process also being more important. Well, what kind of letters do we recognize here already? What kind of objects, bodily parts are fitting here already? The hand, of course. The hand is also an association which is not really that steady body part. It's also not a body part which really needs this connecting part from the body to the environment. Actually not. It's working more independently, just like the head. The head itself is detached even from all its bodily functions and thinks almost separately. It's thinking about the environment. It's putting its mindset somewhere else. That's why you have that the body and the mind there. The mind in the head is separated from it. It's contextual. It's doing this it's making these associations differently. It's that independent connection, just like the hand. It makes contextual connections, independent connections, not directly dependent on the body, dependent on the movement it does from the body onwards. The connections it makes is not coming from the movements in the body, although it does that, but it makes connections directly to the environment, with the environment. That's why the H is used for it, because that's what it is. It makes connections within that environment, and that's why the letter H is a very good starting point. There are only two body parts that do that. These are the hands and the head. These make associations in that environment. Another example, for instance, the arm. Then what is that doing? It makes a connection from the body onwards towards the outer range of bodily parts. The M is about these outerly range of physical body parts, the physical parts even as well. And the R makes a connection to the environment. It makes these movements and connections to the environment. That's why the A, R, M is so well, so easily understood from this perspective. And that's how body parts are not simply associated from the physical space. And you have to remind you always, if you want to understand a word, and if it's even about body parts, like here, don't think about a body and try to describe it with these letters. These three environments, the three connections points, the three worlds, you always have to deal with them if you want to understand the connections that are made there. That was my point here in this video. That's how you have to think with letters and letter combinations in words, and that's how you can understand them. If you simply make puzzles of letters and try to figure it out, it won't work. These three worlds of different sorts of connections, that's more a good starting point to start from. That's what I wanted to point out in this video. Thanks again for watching. Bye bye.